So the method is exactly the same as equations. Except one little rule that's different. When you divide or multiply by a negative number, when you divide or multiply by a negative number, when you divide or multiply by a negative number, you flip the inequality. When you multiply or divide by a negative number, you flip the inequality. So let's look at a really basic example. Let's say I had negative 2x less than 4. So pretty much you can just pretend there's an equal sign. You're going to go through all those steps that are on your foldable. You're going to check for fractions, check for brackets, check for like terms. X is onto one side, numbers on the other. Bam, you get down to this step. So how do we get rid of a coefficient of negative 2? Divide by negative 2. So on the left-hand side, it cancels, just like every other equation we've done. On the right-hand side, we have 4 divided by negative 2, which is just negative 2. The difference is it goes from a less than to a greater than. That's what it means by flip the inequality. Anytime you divide or multiply by a negative, we flip the inequality. Why? Okay, well, let's look at this inequality. 1 is less than 6. True or false? True, right? 1 is definitely less than 6. Well, mathematically, I can do anything to an inequality or an equation as long as I do it to both sides. So I'm going to divide by negative 1. Why? Because I can, as long as I do it to both. So on the left, what's 1 divided by negative 1? Negative 1. And what's 6 divided by negative 1? Negative 6. We'll take a look at that if I don't change the inequality. Negative 1 less than negative 6. Negative 1 is less than negative 6. True or false? False. What's the only way to make it true? Is to flip the inequality. And that's why whenever we multiply or divide by a negative, we have to flip the inequality, otherwise the inequality is not true. That's the only thing that is different than what we've done with equations. So you might want to have your foldable out right beside you because it's got those 7 steps that we're going to go through every single time. So grab that if you don't have it already. Grab a piece of paper if you don't have that already. So pretty much in your head, until the last step, you can just visualize this like an equal sign. Because it's only that last step when we're dividing or multiplying by a negative that we really care about the inequality. So if that freaks you out, you can put an equal sign until the second last step. Okay, let's go through that foldable. What is the first thing that we check for? You have the foldable in front of you. You tell me what's the first. Do we have any parentheses or are there any brackets in the question? Okay, next step. No, we're not doing BEDMAS. We're doing the steps on the foldable. So what's the second little door there? Like terms, okay? Is there anything I can simplify on the left-hand side? Anything I can simplify on the right-hand side? Nope. Next step. Fractions. Any fractions I need to deal with? Nope, cha-ching, go on. Next step. Move all the variables to one side. So take a look. Do I have any variables on the right? Nope, so that's already done. So check, 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 check the first 4 steps. What are we up to now? Okay, get rid of the 14. What's the opposite of adding 14? Subtracting 14. So on the left I have negative 2r greater than equal to, and on the right 34 minus 14, 20. Do we have a coefficient other than 1? Yes. How do we get rid of a coefficient? Divide. So on the left-hand side, I have r. This is where we check, did we divide by a negative? Yes. So what do we need to do with our inequality sign? Flip it. So greater than or equal to becomes less than or equal to. And then we just simplify up the right-hand side. 20 divided by negative 2, negative 10. There's your first solving inequality. Only thing that's different is sometimes you flip the sign. When do you flip it? Did you divide or multiply by a negative? M divided by 5 is greater than 50. No parentheses. Nothing to collect on each term. Fraction, okay? How do we deal with a fraction? Well, what's the opposite of dividing something by 5? Multiplying it by 5.
What do you do with the variables on the bottom?
Can we wait till we get to an example like that? So we're left with just m on the left-hand side. Do we need to flip the inequality? Why not? Didn't divide by a negative, so it's going to stay as a greater than. And on the right, I have 5 times 50, 250. Do you see the similarity to solving equations? Ooh, we got a fraction on this one. First step, let's deal with this division by 6. What's the opposite of dividing something by 6? Multiplying by 6. Okay, so on the left it cancels, leaves us negative 2d plus 4. Flip the inequality or no flip?
No flip.
No flip. Why? It's not a negative, so we just keep it exactly the way it is. On the right-hand side, 6 times 1, 6. Finish this one off. How do we get rid of the plus 4? Minus 4. On the left, what do I have? On the right-hand side? 2. Why didn't I flip? The 4 was negative. Because I added and subtracted. I didn't divide or multiply. How do I get rid of a coefficient of negative 2? Divide by what now? Oh, a what now? A negative. What do we do when we divide by a negative? Flip the sign so it becomes less than or equal to. And just simplify up the right. 2 divided by negative 2, negative 1. Who got that? High five. Find a friend or even someone who just looks friendly or really just anyone. And you're going to do the next 2 examples together. So 4 and 5, I'll give you about 5 minutes. Step number 1, I added 4 on each side to get rid of the 4. So on the left, that left me with 4k minus 12. Then I subtracted the 4k to get it onto each side, which canceled. Minus 4k plus 2k was negative 2k. Divided to get rid of the coefficient. Why did I flip? Because I divided by a negative. Where did those negatives go? Why is it positive 6 on the left, or the right-hand side? Where did the negatives go? Yep, so negative divided by negative equals positive. Who got that one? Good job, high five to you people. This one has brackets, so what do we need to do? Distribute. Distribution, 2 to each of those, 4 to each of those. So 2 times x is 2x, 2 times 1 is 2. 4 times x is 4x. 4 times negative 3 is negative 12. Minus 2 on each side to get it off the left, which gives us minus 14. Minus 4x, which gives us negative 2x is greater than negative 14. Divide by negative 2. X, flip the sign, is less than 7. Yep.
And like where you like upload the terms or you switch them around, can you just like switch it and change the sign?
Yeah, absolutely. Who got that one? X is less than 7. Oh, that's awesome. Oh, the dreaded word problem. What's step 1? What do we do first? Just read to read. Don't overthink it. Just read it like it's a sentence in a book. Really, that's all you picked up is that Sarah is a boy. It's a he, she, yep. Okay, let's start to pick out what's important. Do we really care about her gender or her name? No. What do we care about in the first sentence? Second sentence. And I'm going to box the word at least, because that's telling you it's an inequality, not just an equation. She doesn't want to earn exactly 600. What does she want? At least. So she wants hopefully more than that. The question part? How many hours? So first thing we're going to do is create the equation. We're going to need a variable. What would you like to call it? What would you like to define it as? More specific. More specific than just number of minutes in an hour, number of hours in a day. What about hours? So the number of hours she needs to work. Dylan, turn around, please. Okay, hours isn't specific because it's too general, so it can be number of hours. So she gets $14.50 per hour, so that's $14.50 times x. Something about 600, but we're not going to put an equal sign. What do we want this to be? Greater than or equal to, less than equal to? Greater than or equal to? So does at least 600 include 600 on the nose? Yeah, so greater than or equal to. Go ahead and solve it. Flip or no flip? No flip, why not? Didn't divide by a negative. 600 divided by 1450? 41, 47, 0.7, 37? 41 point? That sounds confirmed. Some units. Hours or dollars? We'll go back to what is X defined as? Hours. Number 7. Read to read, don't overthink. What's it about? Dog houses. That's probably all you got the first time through, and that's fine. Now let's pick it apart. Do we care it's Chris? Do we really care what he's building? We care how much it costs. Do we care about the number of hours? Part A. At least 1,000. I'm going to box that word at least again. What else would you like to highlight? Part B. No more than. And that's why the highlighting and the double reading is good, because a lot of people just see more than, which is a completely different inequality. Then I think we're missing how many houses, nonetheless. We need a variable. What variable would you like to use? What would you like to define X as? Number of dog houses. Part A. Is it about money or is it about time? It's about money, so we've got to find the money piece to the question. How much can he sell the doghouse for? $115 times X, because we don't know how many X is, or $1,000. Now we need to figure out the inequality. Less than or equal to, greater than or equal to. Greater, and then we got to figure out or equal to. So does at least 1,000 mean 1,000 on the nose? Yep. Go ahead and solve. Confirm 8.69. Now, can you build 0.69 of a doghouse? No. So are we going to round up or are we going to round down? Why up? So if we round down, is he going to make at least $1,000? No. So with greater than or greater than equal to, you're going to round up. You can't see that. What about less than or equal to? Round down. So X has to be greater than or equal to 9 doghouses. Part B, are we dealing with money or time? Time, so find the number in the question that refers to the time for a doghouse. Okay, so 4 times X. Okay, he doesn't want to work any more than 50. Now we just need to figure out the inequality. Less than the greater than, or less than or equal to, greater than or equal to. Okay, y or equal to. No, more than implies can he work 50 exactly? Yes, and he's okay with that. It just doesn't want to go over. Go ahead and solve. That sounded confirmed. 12 what? Four hours is, I think, generous for, or not so generous for a doghouse. I think it might take you more. I guess it depends on the size of the dog. Last one. What's number 8 about? What's it about? Sports banquet. Okay, let's pick out the nitty-gritty. What do we really need to know? Still one more key word. Only, and we're going to box that. That tells you it's an inequality. Can you spend less than 2,000? Sure. Can you spend 2,000 right on the nose? Yeah. Can you spend more than 2,000? No, can't happen. This one has to feel like the first part of the unit. So we're going to go back to that y equals mx plus b idea where we sub in the values. We got cost and we got people. What's going to go on the left-hand side? Cost. So give me a variable that will represent cost. Okay, I'll leave m and b for now. We'll fill those in a second. X is going to be number of people. Give me a variable that can represent number of people. Do we care what the variables are? No. You could use X, you could use N, you could use Y, you could use whatever you want. Now we got to figure out the numbers. What's the cost per person? Plus 450. So that's how we did it at the beginning of the unit, except now we got to figure out what's going on with this inequality sign. So what I'm going to do is start with the equation on the left-hand side, because that's the way we did example 7 and example 6 and all the others. And this time I'm going to fill in the cost. What is the maximum cost that this banquet can be? 2,000. What symbol has to go there? Less than or equal to. So here's how we took the idea from the first part of the unit and changed it into an inequality. Go ahead and solve. Flip or no flip? No flip. Why not? No negative. Didn't divide or multiply by a negative. Offer of 72? Offer of 64? 64 what now? People. That is